Getting a tiny bit late start here, 7 minutes after 10 o'clock, and we're ready to talk golf. The show is called Let's Talk Golf. Jim Beckett is in the studio. He is a PGA professional and the Golf College founder at the Links of Spruce Creek South, and he'll answer your questions about golf, the game of golf, the golf players. I don't know, we don't talk about the players a whole lot, but he's here to answer your questions regardless of what it is, and the phone number is the WOCA Climate Control Source Hotline, 352-622-9622. James Beckett, I should say. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, sir.
How are you?
I'm glad to be here after the traffic up here.
Did you have a bad
I left 15 minutes
commute?
early, and you saw what time I got here.
Oh, wow.
It's really, really heavy.
So are you looking forward to Thanksgiving? You don't play on Thanksgiving, do you?
No.
No.
Usually, in some cases, believe it or not, have to work.
Well, it would make sense on a day.
Part of the day.
It'd be, it's kind of like this job, It's like everybody else gets the day off, but you do it because it's for them.
Correct.
Right? It's the selfless attitude, right?
You got it.
Well, you got to have it's kind of how we earn our bread and butter, so to speak, and our turkey, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. What is it? Is how come some of the shots in golf are named after birds? Is there a turkey? Like there's a birdie, right?
Well, I don't know the history of that, and I'm going to write that down so I can find out.
So there's a birdie, an eagle?
Whether it starts off par, it's called par excellence, and that's why golfers who are relatively new to the game or play less frequently should not use that as a benchmark. It makes you feel bad when you make numbers higher than par. That par is considered par excellent. So the number above that is bogey.
Is that a bird?
No, that's
what is
bogey.
A bogey?
If you shoot one over par, it's bogey.
What is a bogey?
I guess it means not good. And then they go double bogey and triple bogey, and then they go X.
Oh, okay.
So on the good side, if you shoot one under par, it's birdie.
That's a bird, okay.
If you shoot two under par, which is pretty rare, it means you'd have to make a hole-in-one on a par 3 or make a 2 on a par 4. Is eagle. A double eagle.
Oh, there's another bird. Okay.
And there's no such thing as a triple eagle because you couldn't really do that, so to speak. Well, it's not that it's impossible, but it's pretty rare.
So there is no turkey shot at all.
No turkey. Well, I think we should probably change bogey to turkey.
I would think so. It would make sense. I think it would make sense. Yeah.
That comes from. It comes from something when the game started before it was even here. And now, I will research that. That's a good question.
Now, what is you've explained what a mulligan is, and I know it's, and I'd like you to explain it again, but what is it in the rest of the world? Like
same.
The same.
Yeah. What happened is mulligan kind of it didn't originate here, but it kind of got embellished here.
Okay.
Normally, when you play around the golf, and you've been out there, it's prudent to show up a little bit earlier of your tee time, not be rushed to get your clubs out, get on a cart, check into the starter, pay your fee. I mean, there's a lot going on. Most people show up about 10 minutes before their tee time, so they're not warmed up. They just got off the traffic, out on the road. Your metabolism's all out of whack for that. So they start saying, well, we'll hit a second ball off the first tee, and it's called a mulligan. And I think mulligan came from Ireland, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay.
And it means just that. It is a mulligan. But we here in this country, the majority of us play the mulligan incorrect. How it originated is if you were rushed to your tee time and you hit a bad first tee shot, then you could hit a mulligan because of that circumstance. But you had to play it if you elected to hit the second ball. But most of the people here hit two balls and pick the one they want and then go.
Okay.
So it's not wrong, but it's not proper etiquette and it's not real golf.
So mull means hit.
Mulligan.
But the first part of the word mull, because you hit again.
Correct.
So you mull again.
Mull again.
Right? You're hitting it again?
And it's not a bad thing, I don't think, but it's when people are conscious about getting a handicap or playing competitive golf.
Sure.
It's not true.
So, but is it usually only used on the first tee?
First tee normally.
Okay.
Sometimes in jest, someone will play 3 or 4 holes and hit a bad shot and say, well, I'll take my mulligan now.
Okay. Now, in the fundraising golf, there's a dollar amount associated with it, isn't there?
And you can buy extra mulligans and use them wherever.
I gotcha. Just to make it more fun. Now, Joe was explaining something. He went to a golf tournament to help Special Olympics, and he was describing a string that you can use when you're putting.
Right.
How does that work?
Well, you buy so many inches of string or feet, and so when you get on the green and you put one down somewhere near the hole, if you've got enough string, you can just use the string to get in the hole and pick your ball up.
Oh, I see.
So it's a fundraising thing, but it's a fun thing too, because when you play in those things, your score sort of is a invalid number.
It's fudged anyway. So if you've got 5 feet of string and you hit the ball 5 feet within the hole, you could get a hole in one.
Correct. Absolutely correct.
Oh, that's kind of funny.
That would be funny, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
If you had a hole-in-one contest, that would be pretty cool.
Oh, I wonder if he'd win the car. I don't think they'd like that.
Oh, the car's done 9 times out of 10 by insurance, and you actually have to physically get in the hole.
Yeah, I would imagine.
With a number of witnesses.
Yeah, I would say so. Well, it is. I mean, the more I know about golf, the more I realize that there's a lot of fun had on the golf course.
If people would play more for fun, they probably would play better. They'd probably be more satisfied after they're around. We are not professionals. Even myself, I'm not a professional player. I'm a golf professional. I work in the golf profession.
Yeah, right.
So,
but you have been a professional player. I mean, you did earn a living.
I dallied with that when man's ego gets them into trouble. I thought I was pretty good, and so I qualified for a couple of tournaments. I found out real quick how good they were and how bad I was.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, but you're right. Our ego does get in the way, doesn't it?
But competition is an entirely different game. You can't move the ball. Most people play what we call preferred lies, and there's nothing wrong with that. The slang term for that is winter rules, and the grass isn't growing as good. Summer rules would mean you leave the ball wherever it lay to make your shot. But most people play that winter rule. A majority of the people play that winter rule year-round. And that's not all bad, because if they get a slightly better lie, roll the ball over, on a little better lie, then maybe they'll hit a better shot. Therefore, they'll proceed through the hole better, get a better score, feel better about it. So it's not real golf, but it's not a bad thing. I think it's a good thing.
It sounds like the best way to approach the game is to make sure everybody's on the same page before you start.
If you're playing competition, the page is pretty strict. You don't have any leeway to do these things. And what I call local WOCA golf, you can make up your own rules for your group. Like when...
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
And I will tell you something that I did when I was at the Villages. I did the new to golf school. The new golfers are petrified to go on the golf course because everybody's trying to play in a hurry, and they know what to do and where to go. And
That was my fear. Yeah. My fear is that I'd be slow. I would be making so many mistakes.
It's like a new driver learning to drive, and they want to put them out on the interstate right off the bat.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Learning a parking lot helps better than take a slow time for less traffic. So it's the same thing. But the point I was trying to get across there, that shows you how my mind's going. I had a great point to make, and I'll think of it when we get off the air.
Well, I think you were talking about the importance of rules.
Yes.
And yeah.
In your own group, you literally can make up any kind of homemade rules you want for your group with 2 restrictions. Don't have a game that slows down the pace of play. People get aggravated if you play slow.
Right.
And don't do any damage to the course. So in the new to golf school, to help people get along, I would go with them on their first outing, and we would tee the ball up with a wooden tee everywhere but in sand and on the green. And they would hit more good shots, move along at a faster pace, and the regular golfers would just give them holy heck over that.
Really?
And the regular golfers are making just as many flaws in the game, rules-wise, as beginners. And they get a little testy, and they don't like it when you call them on it. Most people don't mark the ball correctly on the green. When you put a coin down to get out of the way of a person that's putting further from the hole than you.
Okay.
And they just don't know. They haven't taken time to learn. Whatever pros they're affiliated with usually have been focusing on having them hit the ball better and not learn to play the game. I always encourage all of my students, let's use one of your sessions and let's learn to play.
And the phone line is open if you wanted to speak to Jim. The line is ringing, so we'll answer it. But before we go to the phone, let me make sure I mention the phone number. If you would like to speak to Jim Beckett about golf, the WOCA Climate Control Source Hotline is what you would call. It is 352-622-9622. Good morning. You're on the air with Jim Beckett.
Good morning. Making up your own rules for golf made me think about once I was helping out with a charity golf tournament, and we were selling mulligans, and we're not golfers, so we don't know what a mulligan is, but we thought they were like a 50-50 ticket. And we went out there, and, we were selling them by the arm lengths to these guys. And then we found out we were only supposed to give them like 2 of them, but we were selling like 10 and 15. And so our golf tournament didn't end until about 11 o'clock at night because everybody had all these extra mulligans. And so we made a lot of money for the charity, but we made our own rules that day.
Well, as Larry says, having fun and accomplishing whatever the goal of the tournament is the 2 key points.
Well, the next year they made sure to tell us only 2 mulligans per golfer. I guess that's like a freebie, right?
Yes, ma'am. That means you have an over. You get to hit the shot over again. If you hit a poor shot or top the ball a few feet or a few yards, you get it.
We were very popular that year. They liked us. I'm
sorry?
We were popular that year, the Mulligan girls, because they were able to get like 10, 15 free shots. Because we didn't know the rules of the game.
Yeah, if they sell a lot of mulligans, it will slow the game down a bit. But you're not there for. If you want to drive fast, you drive a race car. It's not a fast game anyway. Although people don't like when people play.
No, they were there for the beer and the brats and the mulligans. That's that year.
You got it. And that's it. Larry played one of his first events a year ago, and he ultimately had fun, but he was had a little anxiety and a little nervous about it because you're in an environment that you don't know all the ins and outs, so you don't want to be uncomfortable.
Actually, I think I calmed Joe down. I think he was more anxious than I was.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that a bit.
Yeah, I think I did.
Yeah, I'd have knocked somebody out with a ball, so I'm glad I didn't go.
Oh, no.
You guys have a great day.
You too. Thanks for the call.
Well, and I am looking forward to it. On the last show, on the Veterans Show, we were promoting the fact that we're doing it again in February, so I am looking forward to it.
It'll be different this time because we'll take a little more time to get you prepped.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, we'll make a better effort to have people who want to have some prep to come early enough that we can
that's
do
a good
that.
idea. That's a good idea. You mean the day of the game?
The day of the game.
Oh, that's nice.
That's the perfect time to do it.
I loved, by the way, I know this is more about ambiance than the game, but I loved the way the golf course felt that time of the morning.
It's nuts, isn't it?
That's great.
It's beautiful.
It was, I don't know what it was. It was just nice. Everybody was friendly, holding a cup of coffee. And
there's a it's like you're in your own fraternity or sorority.
Yeah.
You're part of the deal once you're there. All golfers who have experience, who are real golfers, will always be very patient with new golfers. If someone's not very patient with you, then they're not a very good golfer. I don't care what score they score, because they remember, hey, I went through the same thing. So most of the time you're going to find the majority of the good golfers are going to be very patient, very helpful.
Yeah.
And help you have a nice experience.
And on the other end of the game, at the end, when we were in that little restaurant there, that was fun too. I mean, the food, of course, is always good, but Joe and everybody came up with these really cool little awards, even bad awards, like for the person who hit the worst shot. It was kind of fun.
It is cool.
Yeah,
I love those tournaments. I hope that we're going to be able to have more events for the everyday golfer rather than the competitive golfer. The competitive golfer has lots of menu to choose from, but the everyday golfer doesn't.
Well, I think, it has become such a popular fundraiser that it would make sense for people to kind of have a fun approach to it, because when you're participating in a fundraiser that you don't normally do, the one thing you want is for it to be fun.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm okay with being terrible at it as long as I'm having a good time at it, right? We do have another phone call. Good morning. You're on the air with Jim Beckett.
Yeah, good morning, Jim.
Good morning, sir.
Say, when you hit your ball in the water, how do you know where to place the ball on the shoreline?
Okay. As the ball is in flight,
okay,
the imaginary line, or the line of the ball, where it crosses the margin of the hazard, if that would be the edge of the water, if it's not marked, Normally, most water is marked with some stakes.
Yeah.
Red stakes, primarily for lateral water hazard. You just make a guesstimation, best you can, where the ball crossed that line.
Okay.
You go to that point, and you come out 2 club lengths, and you drop the ball.
Oh, okay. Now, like in a professional tournament, does an official determine where that is?
Normally, just so that there's no controversy, they will call the official in and tell them what they think, even if the official's not there.
Okay.
If he gets some concurrence, for an example, your playing partners will usually concur that that's a spot, and 9 times out of 10, they'll have you playing further forward or closer to the hole than you might pick. So people are normally pretty good about that. You've already incurred a penalty shot, so why penalize you anymore?
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be exact. It's just it's to the closest point that you can deem necessary.
Okay, go ahead. Excuse me.
Well, if you happen to hit over an embankment or something where you can't see that point, you just make a guesstimation the best you can, and just proceed from there.
Let's say on your first initial drive, you're in the water. Can you up to take a stroke and then go back and hit it again?
Yes.
To the tee?
Yes. On almost all penalties, you can penalize yourself the additional distance if you so choose. So you can go from that point across the margin of the hazard, all the way back to where you hit the previous shot.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you for calling.
Yeah, so that is
Good question.
Is that usually the way it is? That the distance is 2 club lengths?
For most times when you're dropping, you've already been penalized. They want to get you far enough away from the edge of the hazard so that you're comfortable.
Now, when you say hazard, and instead of saying water, does that include the sand?
They consider those are hazards to you proceeding as smoothly as possible. Yes, sir.
But isn't it fun to go into the sand? I mean, that's a challenge. Even though you don't like when it goes there, I guess for the novice like us, it was more fun to say, oh, this is an opportunity to see if I can get it out.
A lot of people, because they don't realize they've had trouble in the sand, they get a little uptight about the sand. If you take time, and we'll do this for you when you come to the tournament, if you'll remind me, the sand shot is actually about the second easiest shot in golf. But until you understand how it works, it could be the hardest shot in golf. It's usually never neutral. So most people struggle in the sand unless they've learned a few
Isn't there a
techniques.
club made, I should know this, but there's a club made just for that, right?
Well, there's a club that's called a sand wedge, and essentially there is no such thing. I get many students think that that's the only place you can use it. The sand wedge merely has the most loft on the face to help get the ball up, put some spin on it, and have it stop. So you can use the sand wedge anywhere. You could use it off the tee if you wanted to. It's just a specialty tool.
It just wouldn't go the right way. It would go up, wouldn't it?
And you can get out of the sand with other clubs. It's just that the sand wedge helps get the ball up in the air higher with more spin, so it will land on the green softer, therefore it won't roll over the other side.
Oh, wow. And putting a spin on the ball, is that like an acquired skill or something?
Sir.
No.
Yeah, the spin is done totally with the club, not the person. Now, the person can swing in such a manner to prevent the ball from spinning, but it's the face of the club that puts the spin on the ball.
Really?
Yes, sir. And I'll have you hit a perfect shot in 10 minutes.
Perfect, I mean out of the sand?
Perfect sand shot.
Okay.
Once you understand that, you may not get them all out, but you'll have a positive idea about how to get it out.
Gotcha.
Therefore, if you hit 10, you're going to have some pretty good success. And as soon as you've reduced all that doubt and anxiety and the unknown, you'll approach it totally different. A lot of times in the tournaments, when they have heavy grass around the greens, the professional golfer would rather be in the sand than be in the grass.
When you put a spin on the ball, is it always a backspin?
Yes, you can equate that to the spin you could put on a ping pong paddle. You take the paddle and
you can slice it a little bit.
Tilt it and cut underneath it.
Yeah, okay.
So that analogy is exactly how a sand wedge works. As a matter of fact, I have a ping pong paddle we will take for that lesson.
Just to show how it works, huh?
Just to show you. Once you understand how it works, your ability will immediately flourish.
So I'm the guy who gets one lesson every year.
Well, but when we're doing that, see, that same shot is when you're in the grass and you don't want the ball to roll too far.
Oh, okay. So you apply it in more than one place.
It's multiple. It's the understanding of that helps you around the green tremendously. That you don't have to be Mr. Perfect. You've got a tool, like a pliers or a screwdriver or a hammer. You've got a tool to help you do that job at that particular place.
It seemed like the ego thing did play a role in the threesome that I was part of, which was Robin, Joe, and me. And the ego was less with Robin than it was with us. And I don't know if that's typical of ladies, but she clearly was more skilled on the putting shots than Joe and I were.
Well, putting basically is judgment, touch, and feel. So what do big, strong guys want to do? They want to hit it. They have excessive muscle that's not beneficial for that.
Yeah.
So most people don't put a lot of time and effort into developing their putting skills because you're just rolling the ball to green. How big a deal can that be? But you see many bad putters. Yeah. They want to hit it. So it's men's ego, women's vanity. Women just don't want to look funny.
That could be, and it seems like it's more like pool or billiards, I guess.
Touch and feel and judgment
on the green. Once you get there.
Now, do you play pool?
Well, I have.
Well, you put spin on the cue ball?
Well, if accidentally, maybe.
Oh, so you can spin.
But I know what you mean. But it's more of like there's a thinking part to it, a science. But
putting's more of an art form.
Yeah.
Striking the ball and getting good distance is more mechanics and fundamental. And playing golf is 95% mental.
I hope we have somebody out there listening right now that says, you know what, we got to do this as a fundraiser, and we got to take the advice that Jim is mentioning, that have fun with it.
Anybody who has a fundraiser and would like my assistance, all they have to do is give me a call, and I will meet with them and educate them. Or, in case they want me to help them, I will help them. But having that clinic for the inexperienced golfers prior to playing could change the whole day, and you're a witness to that.
And make it more fun.
Absolutely.
Even, maybe you're a little bit better. It doesn't mean you're great, but a little bit better than you might have been otherwise. But the important thing is it's more fun,
More fun, and you will hit some better shots once you understand that it's not just athletics and muscle.
And while there were a couple of really, really bad shots, there were some surprisingly, accidentally good shots.
The good shot requires less talent and ability than the bad shot. Takes more.
Oh, really?
Takes more.
I'm going to remember that.
Takes more athleticism and more muscle to hit a bad shot.
I'm going to say that.
Than a good shot.
When I hit a bad shot, I'm going to say to whoever's on the team, hey, it took a lot of talent to make that mistake.
If you weren't so good, you couldn't hit bad shots.
Jim, how do we get you? What's your phone number?
Phone number is 352 470 3876.
I don't think that's on this list. All right, tell me again. 352
352 470
yes
3876.
3876.
Now, that's the number we've given out a couple of shows, so keep that down. That's my cell phone in my pocket.
I got you. Okay.
Should you call and I don't answer, I'm talking to some interesting person that's helping them about golf, and I will call you back.
All right. And in the golf course where you are located is?
That's 352 347 6172.
All right,
that's the pro shop.
All right, we do have that one on there. Okay. Always fun show, Jim, and it always goes too fast.
It does go fast.
Thank you for taking the time to come all the way up here just to sit for a half hour and talk to me.
Well, you're one of the reasons I come.
and our listeners, of course. Give our regards to Darren.
I will do that.
And thank you so much.
He apologizes.
Oh, and
once again, some people didn't show up for work.
And enjoy your Thanksgiving, too, by the way.
And you, too, sir.
Thank you.
And to all of our listeners.
And we'll see you probably in 2 weeks, then. Or whatever.
No, actually, this month is the month where there's 5 Thursdays.
5 Thursdays.
So it won't be until the first Thursday of December.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay, well, we'll see you then.
Very good, sir.
We'll see you in the Christmas season.
Yes, sir.
We'll take a little break, and we will be right back.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala. The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Life jackets save lives. Wear it, Florida.